If you want to save 5% off on your next LEGO purchase, be sure to use code LIFEBRICK, that's capital L-I-F-E BRICK, at republicbricks.com for 5% off your next order. It'll pretty much pay for your shipping or get you a couple dollars off. They sell old LEGO minifigures, sets, mystery boxes, and more. I've got a couple of videos on my channel showing the products, so be sure to use code LIFEBRICK on your next order for 5% off. Welcome back, everybody, to another LEGO Star Wars Top 10 video. On today's video, I will be going over the top 10 biggest mistakes on LEGO Star Wars sets box arts. Pretty much these are mistakes and errors that are on the box art that just LEGO didn't catch or didn't care about, and us fans did catch them. Before starting this, I do want to say that this video, top 10, was inspired by Rich Boy J's Your Questions Answered he did about a week ago. As you guys are seeing this, someone asked him what sets he remembers having mistakes on them, and he listed 2 of them, and I'm going to also have those in this list, so kind of credit to him for pointing those out. But the other 8 of them, I did search around, figure them out myself, between brick set, stuff like that. There is a top 10 of them. And it's really not happened that much with LEGO Star Wars, compared to some of these other themes. Really this 10 right here on this list are probably the only 10 that you're going to find. If you guys have any other ones, leave them down below. But let's start off with number 10. That's the ATM-6, the First Order Heavy Assault Walker box art. There are Imperial AT-ATs in the background. Again, this is something that Rich Boy J pointed out. Of course, that is an inaccuracy. There are AT-ATs in the Battle of Crate. The First Order has generic AT-ATs in their army, but those are clearly Imperial AT-ATs in the background. But again, he pointed that out more so I'm not going to really get too much into that. And then another one he did point out was on the First Order Star Destroyer polybag from 2015. There's the Death Star in the background and not the Starkiller base. Of course, the Star Destroyer and the Death Star would not coincide together at all, so that's another error on LEGO's part. Probably just something that again, they just used kind of an image, just an already stock image they had. Didn't really think it would be worth it on a polybag to make a whole nother render or design of Starkiller base. So there's that one. Then moving on to number 8, guys, we have again on the UCS Red 5 X-Wing, there's the Death Star 2 in the background, and that even though Luke wasn't Red 5 then. So I guess, even though Luke's in that set, it was heavily implied on that's what they were intending on. But even though he wasn't Red 5 over the Battle of Endor, again, it was probably just one of those things. They just used a stock image. It just, they probably weren't thinking that much of it, and didn't really think it was worth it for that set in particular. But that's something definitely I would have never noticed. Something that definitely is kind of not really nitpicky, but it is an error. But definitely something that's just a little more, I guess you can kind of argue with it that it is a pretty big mistake, I guess. But that's number 7, or that's number 8, guys. Moving on to number 7. This is kind of a small one, and again, there's not really an error or a mistake. It's more so of a mistake on LEGO's part as a whole, and that is on the Battle of Endor 20th anniversary set coming out on Force Friday, and it has no 20th anniversary border like every other 20th anniversary set. Again, you can really just argue that's just a mistake that us fans think LEGO did, by not having that 20th anniversary border. I think that would make the most sense. All these other 20th anniversary sets have the same border. It would all look, the same, all coincide together well, but they just decided to go with a regular plain white box with the, the red LEGO logo and the black Star Wars logo. So that is number 7, guys. Moving on to number 6, we have the 2015 Star Wars Advent Calendar says includes Darth Vader on side, so it includes. It says it includes Darth Vader on the side of the box. This is actually credit to Just Too Good. He had in one of his videos that this was an error. Again, it wasn't really on the front of the box art and not really that noticeable at all, but this set actually had to be pulled off the shelves just for them to correct it, when normally it was C-3PO, I believe. So yeah, again, they were pretty much 1 year. They pretty much just included the same text as like the year before in 2014, even though it's supposed to be C-3PO. Probably something that they just, again, they just copied over and forgot to change it. So there's definitely number 6, guys. Moving on to number 5, guys. This is kind of, again, a small one that might not even be inaccurate, but I know someone did point it out in Rich Boy J's comments, and I will kind of point it out in this video, and whether or not you want to take it as an error or not, it's up to your discretion. But this is pretty much over the UCS R2-D2 from, I believe that was 2010 or 2011. And basically, what people are saying that the interior of the Falcon in that scene is not, how R2's ever been in it. I mean, again, you could just argue, hey, it's just a clean version of the Millennium Falcon, but some people are saying it looks like the Kessel run Millennium Falcon interior, nice and clean when Lando had it, and of course R2 would not be in the, the Falcon at that time. But again, kind of a nitpicky one, but I want to throw that in there at number 5, kind of just an intermediate one in the middle of the list. Take it as you want, but then moving on to number 4, and the rest are pretty big ones, honestly, pretty big ones on LEGO was then. So let's move on to number 4, guys. This is the 2013 Corporate Alliance tank droid being in the Geonosis Arena. If you guys do see on the background, you can tell it is on, pretty much the Corporate Alliance tank droid is within the Geonosis Arena. You can see the tracks, and I believe even the door, kind of like in for the arena, even though in the episode 2 and just in general, I don't think a Corporate Alliance tank droid would ever really be able to find its way into the Geonosis Arena. They were only on the actual Geonosis battlefield during episode 2. So that's kind of an error on their end. Again, probably just a stock image of Geonosis. I mean, probably weren't thinking much of it, but it is an error on their end. So moving on to number 3, guys. This was actually pointed out by Brick Bros UK a couple of years ago when the set came out, and it's pretty much on the Krennic's Imperial Shuttle. K2SO, he has a blaster on the back of the shuttle box. When only 2 come in the set, in the front of the box he has none, so pretty much they added an extra one in the back. Which that could be a little confusing for people, a little misleading for the people that are looking at it and are expecting a blaster for K2SO. But I guess you can argue again it's on the back of the box, so maybe it's not as noticeable, but it is definitely a mistake on there and that they weren't thinking about. So that's number 3, guys. Moving on to number 2, we have the back of the Resistance Troop Transport. It shows 3 medium blasters and 1 pistol when it's actually 2 and 2. It's 2 medium blaster and 2 pistols come in that set. So again, just a little bit of false advertisement, misreference on the blaster. It's not the end of the world, but again, it is an error on the box that slipped through. So, has to make this a list at some point. And that's number 2, guys. Moving on to number 1, probably the biggest one out of all of these, that actually might affect, sales to an extent. I mean, I doubt anyone's ever noticed this, aside for, Brickset, the one user I found it from. This is pretty much on the 2015 Darth Vader's TIE Advance vs. A-Wing. On the box art in the bottom right corner where all the minifigures are, Darth Vader has no leg printing on there, even though in the set he does. He comes in the box, with leg printing. A pretty nice leg printing too. But on the actual minifigure render on the front of the box, it shows no leg printing. So, again, none of these are really too major. Star Wars has not really had any of those, super big mishaps, in the box arts. This is all kind of just, smaller stuff that, I mean, it's cool to point out. Some of the stuff I didn't know about, basically all of these until I kind of looked into this video, and I did about a couple hours of research, and then of course Rich Boy J's video kind of inspired this. So yeah, definitely leave a comment down below which one you think is the worst out of all 10 of these, which one is the biggest mistake they did. But other than that, guys, stay tuned for next week's top 10. It's a pretty good one. Now thank you guys all for watching this one. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to enter the giveaway, and stay tuned for us. See you guys later. Bye.